Hi, this is Greg Kilstrom. Welcome to the Agile World podcast, where we discuss customer experience, employee experience, and transformation in an agile age. The Agile World podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To read more about the topics discussed on this show, you can go to my website at theagile.world and read my latest articles or get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, a blueprint for creating an experience-led organization, now available on Amazon and other retailers. My name is Greg Kilstrom, and I'm the host of the Agile World podcast, as well as the co-founder and CEO of CareerGig, a marketplace that provides freelancers access to premium jobs, plus health insurance, retirement, and other benefits. Companies that hire freelancers and 1099s get access to verified freelance talent and can offer them benefits. Today, we're going to talk about the freelance economy and why it's important that freelancers, contractors, and the self-employed protect themselves and their future with insurance, retirement, and other benefits of planning ahead. Many freelancers are passionate about what they do and become independent so they can focus more of their time on what they love doing. They often find, however, that they need to learn about a wide variety of things, such as accounting to send clients invoices, project management, and many other skills. This is in addition to ensuring that they are planning for their futures and the well-being of their families. Insurance, retirement, and other methods of planning are often taken for granted by full-time employees, but freelancers have to source and purchase this on their own. This can be prohibitive from both a time and cost perspective. To help me discuss this topic and offer some potential solutions, I'd like to welcome Steve Blair, who is part of the team at CareerGig, where he's VP of Benefits. First, why don't you tell me a little bit about your background and what you do at CareerGig?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm actually pretty excited that we're getting an opportunity to do this because I think what we're doing in the marketplace is a little bit unique and very exciting. My background, I kind of grew up in the insurance business. I'm third generation of insurance broker. Actually, no, I take that back, fourth generation now.
Oh, wow.
And I've taken over. My father and I have a business together. He's mostly retired. But I've been working in the business for about 20 to 25 years, I would say, and primarily focusing in the area of employee benefits and doing some executive planning and things like that. But my core area of expertise is definitely in that employee benefits world. And what's nice about it from our perspective, especially since now being part of the CareerGig team, is the fact that I've been able to see a lot of different companies interacting with a lot of different employees, doing a lot of different things and getting to see how people bring in people either on a part-time basis to manage certain things and a lot of times wanting to be able to provide benefits, but maybe necessarily can't. And so I think it's been great for me to be able to be part of this because this new gig economy that's growing has kind of, has blossomed, and it's really created a, kind of a hole in the benefits world, because you have this segment of people that have had these challenges like you're talking about. Somebody is very good at what they do and they've become self-employed and they're out getting gigs. But they're not good at it necessarily at accounting or know how to protect themselves, not only from their employee benefits type standpoints in terms of protecting their health and being able to manage health care for themselves and their family, but also, other things like income protection or business protection. And so one of the nice things that CareerGig has been able to do is put together a program and process that brings the experts from all of these different areas to be able to assist these people get the best out of what it is that they want to do, which is why they've become freelancers to begin with.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, it's definitely great to have you as part of the CareerGig team. Well, let's start by talking about the difference between full-time employees and freelancers or contractors.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest difference between how most companies compensate full-time employees versus freelancers or 1099s?
Well, we'll talk about a full-time employee. We'll call them a W-2 employee. That is an employee that is regularly employed as a statutory employee for a company. And we call them W-2 employees because they get a W-2 at the end of the year. A 1099 employee is a contractor and they're an independent, though there are many contractors that work, just the same number of hours as a full-time employee for companies, but in a 1099 capacity. And I've seen this in a number of different areas where people just want to work independently, or a company may have a need that's not an ongoing need where they would hire a W-2 employee, but maybe they have a short-term issue that they need to take care of, or maybe a project that's only going to last, about a year, maybe even more, but is so specialized that they don't want to bring in a regular W-2 employee, and they have a lot more flexibility bringing in a 1099, somebody that's an independent contractor that specializes in a very specific field.
So what did most 1099s or freelancers have to do in order to get comparable insurance and benefits to a W-2?
Well, actually, to go back, I forgot a big point of what we were just talking about, which is, what does a W-2 employee get? Oftentimes W-2 employees, they get workers' comp through their employer. They get access a lot of times to health insurance and dental insurance and vision insurance. They have access, a lot of times to either voluntary, where the employee pays for it themselves, disability, or even employer paid disability or life insurance, or a number of different insurance, employee benefit related products that just aren't available typically to somebody that's an independent contractor. And so, the value for a lot of employers is with a 1099 is they don't have to provide those benefits, and those benefits are very expensive. To go back to the 1099 and what do they have to do to get comparable insurance, a lot of times it's very hard. Either the products are not necessarily available. One that comes to mind is short-term disability, or like when we're talking about health insurance, the plans that are available in the employer-based market are a lot more rich and comprehensive a lot of time than the plans that are available in the individual market. So a lot of times if I'm an individual contractor and I work for myself, I have to go to, a lot of times, depending on where somebody lives, but for the most part, to a Affordable Care Act exchange and buy benefits through the Affordable Care Act exchange. And depending on the state that somebody lives in, there may be very few options available to them in that marketplace. We hear about in the news a lot of times that carriers are not working in the individual marketplace anymore. And one of the big things that I see when I'm looking at people that have been in the individual market, and when I talk about the individual market, that's somebody that goes and buys their own plan through the Affordable Care Act exchange, as opposed to somebody being an employee through an employer-based plan. The employer-based plans tend to cover more. Now, all plans have to cover what the government says are essential health benefits. But the real question is, how much does the plan pay versus how much does the subscriber pay to use those benefits? And I'm not talking about the premium that we pay every month, but actually what it costs to get the care. And what I find for the most part is that employer-based plans, which is what we've put together at Career Gig, tend to have a higher payout for each of those essential health benefits than an individual plan. The individual tends to pay a higher percentage of those visits versus the insurance company. So there's been this kind of switch out there where, in the individual market, it used to be able to get a lot of different types of plans from a lot of different types of carriers. But unfortunately, in the post-Affordable Care Act world, say past 2014, we've started seeing those benefits degrading in a little bit. And it's not degrading in the fact that they're not covering certain things. We're starting to see more cost share shift to the member as opposed to the insurance company. And that's kind of an unfortunate thing in the individual marketplace. So as a 1099 contractor or a freelancer, it's very difficult to try to get comparable benefits because you're either don't have access to benefits that are as generous or as rich as the employer-based plans, or they're just not available to an individual. and a lot of 1099 contractors are just working independently, so they don't have other employees necessarily. And these group based benefits, depending on the type of benefit, can require multiple employees. Excuse me, multiple employees to be part of a plan. And so, just as an individual, self-employed 1099 person, I wouldn't have access unless I had multiple people working for me that I can go and negotiate contracts with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, so then how does Career Gig make up for some of these gaps?
Well, this is one of the exciting things about what we've done and what we are doing, and not only exciting for me sitting in kind of this broker advisor role that I sat in for many years, but also the insurance companies that we've talked to have been very excited about our concept. And our concept is by allowing or by working with gig workers and contract workers, if we can get them to a level where they meet our eligibility requirements on our plans that we're offering. And we're offering a wide variety of different things, from medical insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, disability insurance, but short term, long term, multiple kinds of life insurance. And other services like prepaid legal, and we have even pet insurance,
Yeah.
critical illness and accident, policies that help when people have high deductible health plans to help offset some potential risk there. These are benefits that aren't regularly available, but when we have a relationship with a member through our system, and by putting work through the Career Gig platform, we create kind of that employer employee styled relationship that group benefits are looking for, but the subscriber, the member of Career Gig, isn't going to necessarily lose that independence where they are an individual career person. And in fact, because of what we're doing in terms of being able to provide group type benefits in the gig market economy, it's helping the insurance companies too, because they've seen the same gap, but they didn't see or find a good way for them to be able to participate in the gig economy. And we've kind of created that happy medium for them to be able to both go out and do that. So it gives some great opportunities to the gig worker out there, and some great opportunities to our carrier partners to be able to come back and provide these type of benefits and fill in where there's a gap, and give people, that want better benefits to have access to them.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's talk a little bit from the freelancer the freelancer perspective, and what they need to know about insurance. Since, again, as you were saying earlier, a lot of times all of that knowledge and the research and all is really taken care of by an employer for a W-2. What are some of the biggest things that the freelancers and contractors overlook in regards to insurance, and what should they be planning for that they often aren't?
One of the things that I think that first came to mind when we first started talking through this, outside of health insurance, I think everybody can agree that everybody needs health insurance. It's not good to not have it in this country, or access to healthcare in any country for that matter. But outside of those type of benefits, as an independent contractor, you're working independently. So if you can't work, you can't get paid. And the number one reason for bankruptcy in the United States is due to a medical condition. So if we're all thinking, and that gets people thinking, well, I need health insurance in the event that I have some untimely or unexpected medical thing come through, that I have insurance to help me pay for it. But what if you can't work? One of the biggest things, I think that there's a huge gap for people in the 1099 world is disability insurance, insuring your income. So if I'm looking at, last year, if I made an average of, I don't know, let's throw a number out there, $150,000, and I'm the primary, income earner in my household, what would it mean to my family if I couldn't bring that money back in because I'm ill? disability insurance, which is something that's very difficult to get in the individual market, especially short-term disability. It's typically only available in long-term disability in the individual market, is to be able to get not only plans, but be able to get what one of the things that we've been able to do, by leveraging the size of what we've been able to develop here, is actually getting carriers to give us guaranteed issue products. That is, I could be a gig worker, and I if God forbid I have a history of cancer in my family, or I've had cancer, or I'm living with cancer, nobody's going to issue you a policy, but we've been able to put together policies that are guaranteed issues. They're not going to ask, these medical questions. We're going to be able to give products on a guaranteed issue basis where normally somebody wouldn't be able to qualify for them. And that's one of the values of working with, us at Career Gig, is we've created this pool, this enterprise that insurance companies are very interested in working with.
That's really great, and I think that speaks to, there's a lot of things that are automated on the platform, but there's also that human element of taking the time to understand an individual's needs and trying to find the best solution for them. How to talk a little bit about that? I mean, how do you approach that in helping customers find the best solution for them? Because there's obviously, you mentioned at least most, if not all, of the products available, and there's quite a bit. But where do you kind of start when someone knows that they have a need but isn't really sure where to start?
Well, I started by giving us, as you said, a selfish plug. To be able to go through, I think, all of what we're offering. But all jokes aside, one of the things that was important to us is that people have the opportunity to be able to talk to an advisor, because everybody's situation is different. Everybody makes different amounts of money. Everybody has, different situations at home. Do I have children? Do I not have children? Do I have children that I'm expecting to put through college? There's a lot that goes into that. And so we've been able to develop with our carriers and also with our partners and our internal staff, is to be able to put in an opportunity for people to be able to actually schedule time to talk to an advisor, to be able to answer those questions. Because if you think about, and if you were going to buy your own health insurance plan through one of the health exchanges, unless you're working with a broker, and a good broker, you may not get the very best advice or no advice. A lot of times when people are purchasing plans through the exchanges, they get to talk to an exchange navigator, and exchange navigators aren't licensed to be able to give advice. So they can tell people how to enroll, but they can't give you any advice as to the benefits of one type of plan versus another, or, what's going on in your household. Do you have certain types of medical conditions? Are you taking a lot of prescription drug medication? And these types of questions can help a qualified advisor be able to point somebody to the best plan, give somebody the best information that they can give them, so that they feel like they've made an educated decision, and became an educated consumer of their needs, as opposed to just a user of them.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your role at Career Gig and how you work to deliver the best possible customer experience. You already touched on this with the advising and stuff, but what other potential challenges are that freelancers might have, and why do you feel Career Gig is a unique solution for them?
Well, one of the biggest is with our knowledge and expertise, and I'm not just gonna shine the spotlight on me, but for our whole team. We bring a lot of education, experience, knowledge of working not only in the employee benefits arena, and that's one of the nice things about Career Gig, is we've brought in, experts of all of these different fields. And when we get an opportunity to talk to, some of these big insurance carriers, we can really describe what it is that we were hoping to accomplish to assist with the gig economy. And the insurance companies knew about that big gap there. So by having all of these experts in all of different fields, and being able to have a very detailed conversation on a high level, it made the insurance companies feel very um, very secure in working with us and partnering with us to be able to um, bring these type of benefits that your typical 1099 independent contractor would never have the ability to talk to the insurance companies at the levels that we had an opportunity to talk to them about. So we've been able to get kind of the best in class, not only in terms of our advisors, but best in class in terms of benefits to be able to offer the very best possible to the gig economy.
Yeah. Well, and then let's tie it back to the companies again. I mean, how do you see? Obviously, this is a huge benefit to freelancers, and that either couldn't access some of these things otherwise, or it might be more expensive other places, or just more difficult with less guidance. How does having freelancers that are financially secure, taken care of with insurance, how does that benefit the companies that hire them?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a huge benefit. One of the challenges is, and I'm going back. I'm going to put on my other hat when I was working as a broker and working with independent businesses in the Mid Atlantic area of the United States. A lot of times people would say, "I have this 1099 person. Can I have them on my benefits?" It's important for us to know that they have coverage if something were to happen. And so, by us being able to offer a platform for these companies to know that the people that are going to be working with them, and in some cases quite intimately, have the ability to get very good benefits comparable to what somebody would be offering to their other employees. So that's a huge benefit, I think, to businesses to know that our team members at Career Gig would have an opportunity to have the same type of programs, both health insurance and the other related insurances. Because the number one reason for absenteeism, or I should say presenteeism, when people are at work, is actually due to when people have medical problems, or and they're trying to call their doctors and working with insurance companies and trying to, a lot of times people aren't doing that after hours because, when are the doctor's offices open? They're not open at night. So, a lot
Right.
of times people are taking care of that during the day, and that affects presenteeism. And when I talk about presenteeism, that's, how present are my workers, while they're working during the workday. And, it's important that businesses are getting the most that they can out of not only their employees, but the contractors that they're bringing in as well, because that's why they hire them, because they're experts in their field, and I think it makes companies feel good to know that the people that they're bringing in are well taken care of, or have the opportunity to be well taken care of in this way.
Yeah, yeah, I've definitely heard the same from companies, and that's really from small, people, small companies with a few people to enterprises.
Yeah.
Everybody that's they want to know that their people are taken care of, even if they're not directly, directly providing those benefits. So no, that's great. Well, one last question before we wrap up. For those that want to learn more about what health and other insurance and retirement benefits might be best for them, what resources would you recommend?
Oh, I would absolutely recommend that people go to our website, click on the benefits area. We've put in a lot of great FAQs. We've put in a lot of good information about the different types of benefits that are available. They can absolutely make an appointment to speak to an advisor about the benefits. And one of the great things, when I talked earlier about eligibility, is that part of that eligibility is people have to be putting enough work through us and partnering with us, so that they can qualify for a lot of these different types of benefits. And one of the fastest ways somebody can do that is actually bring over their current gigs. You're not required to start out by working with new gigs through Career Gig. You can bring your existing gigs in, and you can hit those eligibility requirements pretty quickly. And that's one of the big things that we wanted to be able to do, and we're working with our carriers in determining eligibility, is that we're making sure that we're doing things correctly. But we also don't want people to have to wait too long, especially if they're already kind of, cranking out those hours. We want them to be able to get credit for those. And it's a great way for them to be able to do that and start working with us. So as I said, just kind of in recap, we've got great information on our website. They can schedule time to talk to an advisor. We also have the opportunity, if people can contact us through the website, they can ask questions. We're happy to respond to them and give them the information that they need, to help guide them through this process.
Great. Well, Steve, thanks so much for joining the show. And for those listening, what's the best way for them to keep up with you?
And people can contact me on LinkedIn. Also, I have a company that I work with doing employee benefits consulting called Lyceum Insurance Services, LLC, out of the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Our phone number is area code 301-840-6624. Or you can hit our website and send us emails through our website at www.lyceum, that's lyceumins.com, lyceumins.com. And we're very happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Great. Well, again, I'd like to thank Steve Blair, VP of Benefits at CareerGig, for joining the show. You can learn more about CareerGig, a marketplace that provides freelancers access to premium jobs, plus health insurance, retirement, and other benefits at www.careergig.com. Thanks for listening to The Agile World with Greg Kihlstrom. See you next week. Thanks again for listening to the Agile World podcast, brought to you by TEKsystems. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom. You can learn more and get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, from my website at theagile.world or on Amazon or other retailers. Until next week, stay agile.